Hey everyone, and welcome to the Masterclass, the 5 steps to land a job in the C-suite. I am Lori Howard, and I am happy to have you here with me today. So the first thing I want to let you know is that after the masterclass, you will receive a copy in your email of the recording. And so you will be able to listen to this again. Should there be some things you missed, if you want to listen to it at a later time, you will also be in a position, if you wish to share that with someone you think might find value in this. So make sure you stay through to the end. I promise that there will be a lot of high value content through the end of this masterclass. And just keep in mind, this could be the make or break strategy for you to transform your career right now. So let's go ahead and get started. So first of all, let's make sure you're in the right place. So I'm a person who values time. I value my time and I value your time. And if you are pursuing a job in the executive suite, your time is super high value. So if you are a leader who are currently feeling like you're just not valued or appreciated by your organizations for the things that you do, and you want to land an executive level leadership role with a company that values and appreciates you, you're in the right place. If you're thinking maybe you haven't done enough to create a reputation and positioning that companies will pay a premium for, this is the right spot for you. I promise you'll get some support. If you're tired of making contributions and achieving goals at work only to be passed over or ignored for promotion, for recognition, I have many of my clients come to me feeling really frustrated because they're just not getting the acknowledgement for the things they actually do. If you want to learn exactly what to do and what not to do to position yourself for an epic next job in the C-suite, this is the right spot. And if you're just finally ready to master a strategy and not keep going about hoping to find the right way and luck your way into it, but really have a strategy that's going to help you not only find a job during this recession, but will help you land a C-suite level role at any time during any economy, this is definitely the right place for you. If this all sounds like you, I have information and value for you through the end. And so if it doesn't sound like you, and you think maybe you're in the wrong spot, great. We just saved you some time. But if this sounds like someone you know, I would invite you to share the recording with them when you receive it in your email. Now, I also want you to know that even if you feel like you might be an outlier, you're still in the right place. So if you're wondering, Lori, I'm not even sure I'm at the right company, so I don't know that I want to get promoted, this is still a good spot for you. This will be helpful for you. If you're thinking, I don't even know that I want to keep the career I have, I might want to make a change, these things that I'm going to share with you today will be helpful for you. If you're worried about your career legacy, I have clients coming to me saying, I've got the next 10 to 15 years to really think about what the legacy I'm going to leave behind with my career. What impact will I ultimately have had? And I'm planning that now. This is a good spot for you. Even if you're not 100% certain of what it is you really want to do next and what's going to be a good place for you, I guarantee this is a good place for you. So if you know that one thing you do want is to land a job at an executive level or in the C-suite, and you want to enjoy what you do and make an impact, this masterclass is definitely the right place for you. So let me talk about the agenda that we're going to go through today. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce myself because some of you may be new to me. And so I want to let you know a little bit about who I am and why I'm here. And then we're going to have a little bit of a heart-to-heart about your career. We're going to have some straight talk about what's true for your career, especially in today's world. I want to make sure we address the question, is this even the right approach for you? Then I'm going to share with you the 5 steps to land a job in the C-suite as promised. And then I'm going to give you a review of the Epic Next Job system, which I have created and which I'm going to be talking to you about here so that you can understand how that might support you. So before we go any further, I want to take a minute and introduce myself. So I am Lori Howard. I'm a nationally recognized executive career coach for leaders and executives. I have helped hundreds of clients at the executive level find their epic next job. I've been doing this since 2007. And before that, I had a 15+ year career in the technology space. I have clients all over the world who are in a situation similar to yours that I have worked with across the US and globally. And then I have, I just want to share with you a list of my credentials, not to like brag or anything like that, but to let you know, I take my career seriously. I started out with a degree in electrical engineering, which is why I went into tech at first. And then when I made this transition into and launched my own business, I pursued a bunch of education and certifications. And I want you to know that because it's important that you understand that I take what I do very seriously, and I am committed to bringing the highest value to my clients. And then here are some things that my clients have said they experienced. These are in my clients' own words. I didn't change them in any way. I just grabbed a few quotes from them. Robert talked about how he felt like I understood really where he was coming from and how he felt. Caitlin identified that one of the things I did for her was helped her redefine her career story. And that's one of the things we're going to be talking about today. Amy is the CEO and co-founder of a phenomenal organization, and I have been working with her for a couple of years now, I think. 2020's got my sense of time all skewed. Kathleen indicated that after she and I worked together, she had a whole new approach to finding a career. And so you can see some of the things that my clients have said. Now, you may be wondering at this point, why am I talking all this time about me? Why would I spend all this time telling you about me when we're here to talk about you? Well, the point is, I know what I'm doing, and I want you to know that. And I want you to know that I'm the only one executing this approach and that it works. And I want you to understand that and be aware of that before we get into the meat of today's of this class. So let's get into that, shall we? So we're going to start by having a really straightforward conversation about your career. So first of all, no one talks about this, but there is definitely a very real executive wall. Odds are high you've run into it, you've felt it, you've kind of perceived it. It may seem a little invisible, but the data shows that it's there, and I'm going to share that with you now. So 5% of all jobs are leadership roles. Now think about that. That means 85% of all positions, according to I can't remember what it's called, the U.S. Department of Labor's research. 95% of all jobs are not leadership roles. So for all that talk that companies offer up around inviting people to take a leadership role, only 5% of the jobs out there are leadership roles. Of that, 8% of total top executive roles are C-level jobs, which is a really small percentage. And then less than 1% of all employees achieve the C-suite level. So my point with this is that there's a very real executive wall. It's a really narrow slot to try to fit into, and that makes it challenging. So what does it feel like when you hit that wall? Well, one of the things that you first may notice is that you start to feel invisible. Like whatever you're doing, suddenly you're not getting seen and recognized for what you're doing anymore. You may feel like you're just not able to make the impact you're capable of and that you have the potential for. Often my clients will come to me feeling like they're just not getting paid what they deserve. I mean, let's face it, once you hit the executive level, which is director level and up, you make more money. Perhaps you've tried resume writers and recruiters and just really done everything you could think of to get to that level, and it's just not working. You're no longer getting the results. And that can leave you feeling frustrated and stuck. And then you can end up feeling just really tired of wasting time, money, and energy. This is where my clients often are when they come to me. So your goal, which maybe feels a little bit like a pipe dream right now, as you wonder if it's even possible, is really to find a job that you love at the C-suite level in an executive leadership role, where you have the impact you really want to have and where you get the recognition and the money you deserve. So what does that mean? Well, often what that translates to for the people that I work with is that they wake up in the morning feeling really energized. They're getting to do meaningful and challenging work. They're looking forward to the day because they get to lead truly high achieving teams. They get to collaborate with amazing colleagues. They're recognized for their work and their contributions. They're compensated with plenty of money. And finally, they feel like they're achieving their true potential and are able to craft a meaningful legacy that they are proud of. So what's the problem with that? The problem is that what got you here to the point you're at right now in your career isn't going to get you there. So I have a client who came to me, and She had come and she had managed to get to a director level. So she just broke through to the executive level. She was ready to move through VP and into C-suite. She was so excited. She felt really proud and accomplished. And then she hit the wall. She could not get recognized or seen for the next level, and she did not know what to do. And she didn't understand because she was still doing the things that got her to that point. So let's talk about what some of those things are. She did excellent work. She was a team player. Most of my clients come to me, and many people achieve great things up to a certain level by working well with others, by being a team player, by contributing exceptional work, by demonstrating really sharp analytical and technical skills. Now, many of my clients, they're really good at what they do. So they're demonstrating at a high level the skills that they have. They're taking initiative. You're supposed to take initiative, right? So they've been doing that. They were achieving results. All of these things are what got them recognized and promoted to the level that they're at when they come to me. And they typically practice what's called the servant leadership style. Now, if you don't know what that is, the servant leadership style is a term that basically indicates that when you're that as a leader, you will be more successful if you're focused on helping those, or if your focus is to help those around you succeed. So whether that's your team, the people who report to you, your peers, your colleagues, and even your boss. But that is often the approach that helps people get seen and get to a certain level. That gets you promoted from individual contributor up to senior, up to a management level, possibly even director. But the problem is that these are no longer enough. You can keep doing these and you're still going to feel stuck. So that's the first challenge. 2020 has brought some additional challenges. So let's talk a little bit about that. There's no way I could go through this presentation without at least giving a nod to what's happening right now. So economists agree we're dealing with a recession unlike any other. So a recession, by the strictest definition of the term, is 2 straight quarters of negative economic output measured by the GDP. That's where we are. In September, there were nearly 10.7 million fewer jobs than there were in February of this year. That's totally related to the pandemic. The US GDP dropped by nearly 40% for the second quarter. I haven't seen the third quarter numbers yet. They came out at the end of October. That's like pretty big drop, right? The bottom line is 2020 is one of the worst years for both the US and global economies. And I've seen some projections that say it's going to take 17 months for employment to recover. The bottom line is the future remains uncertain. Everything is unpredictable. And so in addition to what we just talked about with the executive wall, there's this. So what do we do? Well, the bottom line right now is if you are on this presentation, are likely an action taker. You are someone who sees a problem, wants to do something about it, sets a goal, takes action, and typically gets results. And right now, you are likely doing everything you know how to do. And the problem is you don't know what to do, so you feel stuck. This leads a little bit to my mission and why I do what I do. So the work that I do with clients, I do this because I want to make a difference. That's my thing, right? I want to make a difference in the world in this way. I have developed a strategic system. So the approach that I take with clients is not based on just my intuition. Let's just play it out. Let's just see how it feels. Let's just wait and see how things change. There is no ambiguity to the process that I use. There's a concrete, defined strategic system that I've been developing since 2007. It's based on this idea of working smart, not hard. And I don't just mean that in the cliche of like work smarter, not harder kind of way, but by leveraging your strengths. And so I'll tell you what I mean by that in a few slides. But I really want to help my clients thrive through the recession. This is a different kind of recession. And there is no reason that you shouldn't be able to get promoted and lead in the fashion that you're totally ready to do and get seen and recognized for that and get paid what you deserve in a way that you enjoy in spite of what's happening. You should be able to land a job you love with the impact and income you want and build a career legacy that fills you with pride. You shouldn't have to wait. So is this system right for you? How do you know it's going to work for you? You see the problem now, but you're not so sure that my solution is going to be the one. Is it going to get you the results that you want? Well, you're here for a reason, right? You want to up-level your job and you want to do it right. You're committed to getting your perfect next job in the C-suite or at an executive level. You know what you're doing isn't working, and you want to work in a job where you're recognized and rewarded for what you do. Well, so here's what you need to do. You need to think differently. You've been doing what worked before and it's not working anymore. So it's time to think about things a little differently, and I'm going to talk to you about how. So my clients are thriving. My clients are definitely getting interviews for their perfect fit next jobs, and they are fielding offers. And they are stepping into roles as executive and C-suite leaders. And they are doing that even this year. Now, what are they doing that no one else does? I want to tell you the secrets of what they're doing. My clients have stopped looking for more information and started focusing on transformation. Let's face it, you're already doing everything you know. You're doing your own research. You've looked at information, you've taken action, and you haven't achieved what you want because you still haven't been able to figure out what it is. I've been there. I have worked with hundreds of clients who have been there. And I've been doing this for a long time now. And over time, I realized there was a huge difference between the people who would make it, who would succeed, who find their perfect career and were able to get that promotion or get that job that they wanted, do the work that they love, and get paid what they deserved while other people kept struggling. And so I began to see that there was something that those people were doing that was different. And it didn't seem to matter what industry they were in or what sort of lifestyle preference they had, but they all had made similar changes in the way they thought about their job and their career. So the bottom line is the people who are able to land an executive job that they love made 5 transformations about the way they think and the way they go about taking control of their careers in a way that other people don't. And these transformations are the 5 keys to achieving true job satisfaction. And I'm going to walk you through all 5 of those. So I'm going to show you how to do this for yourself. So here is kind of an overview of the 5 key transformations that we're going to be talking about. This is also a picture of the Epic Next Job system that I take all of my clients through to help them land their Epic Next Job. So we're going to talk through all 5 of these stages, and we're going to start with stage 1, or key transformation number 1 right now. Step 1, get clarity. Here's what typically happens. So many people want to jump ahead to take action right away, action that's physical and tangible. So if they're thinking, I need a new job, they start the job search right away. Or if they want to get a promotion, they're like, I'm going to go talk to my boss. I'm going to go talk to these people. I'm going to figure out what I need to do, and I'm just going to get it. Even executives are guilty of this. And it seems to be even more true today, kind of the shorter our, it's not time span, but our what's the word I want? Oh, I can't think of it. Sort of our attention span gets, the more quickly we want to take action. And taking action is great, but you have to know the right action to take. So it's tempting to skip ahead to the things you're physically doing, like update your resume, go meet with my boss. But if you skip over this transformation and then you don't get the results you want, or worse, I've seen people get results they don't want, the wrong job, the wrong company, the wrong role. I had a client, he didn't turn into a client. Actually, he was someone who came to me. He was all set to work with me. He was like, yes, let's do this. Let's do this. And then before we had our first session, he found a job. He accepted the job and he was so excited. He was like, this is it. Look at all the potential it has. He and I kept in touch over the course of about a year. Turns out it was the wrong kind of role for him. It was the wrong kind of organization for him. Within 12 months of when he and I first met, he was now in a position where he was actively hunting for a new job already. All because he skipped right past step 1 and right into the step where you just get something new. So I want you to take this first step, which is getting clarity. So when I say get clarity, what does that mean? First, I want you to stop focusing on what you don't want. So this is one of my favorite things about the brain. The brain, your brain, my brain, will always give us what we want or what it thinks we want. but the brain doesn't process negatives. So if you think to yourself, so if I were to say to you, don't think of a purple banana with sparkles, very first thing you're going to think of is a purple banana with sparkles, right? Because the brain it disregards the no and goes right to purple banana with sparkles. It happens that way with everything. So if you're thinking, I don't want to work for a place that requires me to work long hours, 12 days a week. Well, then your brain's going to go long hours, 12 days a week, crazy schedule, on it. We're going to find that. If you don't want to work for a family-owned business, but want to work for a business that maybe is run by a board, no more family-owned businesses. That's all you're going to see next. Your brain is going to be family-owned business, on it. Whatever you say, I don't want, the brain goes after. That's exactly what you're going to find. So I want you to stop doing that. And I want you to start focusing on what you do want. This is the key to getting clear, is to really, first of all, know what it is you want and put that in the affirmative, put it in a positive framing. So instead of no long hours, well, how many hours do you want to work? Well, I want to work 40 to 60 hours a week, and I want flex time, and I want to have a company that respects my time with my family. Great. I don't want to work for a company that's slow to make decisions. No, I want to work for a company that's strategic and innovative and takes quick action. Focus on the things you do want and make a list of those things. You want good compensation. You want meaningful work you feel proud of. You want to be excited about what you do. Make a list of all those things. Maybe you want to work for a company that's an industry disruptor or is known for its innovation. That would be huge right now, especially as we move forward through and out the other side of this pandemic. Companies need to be innovative. They need to be disruptive to succeed and to survive. Maybe you want to work for a company whose executive leadership appreciates and rewards you for your contributions, where there's mutual trust and respect within the culture. Maybe you're someone who wants to work for an organization that values diversity and inclusion, not just in demographics, but in ways of thinking. So make a list of all the things you want. Get clear about what you want so that your brain knows how to go get that. Then the next thing I want you to do, once you're clear on what you want, and when you're thinking about what you want from a job, it needs to be, what do you want to do? Where do you spend your time? Who do you want to work with? And where do you want to work? I would identify all of those things as part of focusing on what you do want. Then I want you to embrace the real you. So you want to get clear about who you are and what you offer as part of this as well. And that's the next sort of big foundational piece. So what does that mean? First, I want you to think about your values. Now, values are another one of the most overlooked secrets to job fulfillment and satisfaction. One of the things that most of us don't realize is that values change over time. The things that were important to us in our early 20s are not the same as might be important to us in our 30s, our 40s, our 50s. Life events change us. Births, deaths, marriage, divorce, pandemic, major life events change us and they impact our values. So you need to know what your values are today, what's important to you today. And the key with values is compatibility is key. So if you think of values as the principles, beliefs, and kind of attitudes that guide our decisions and our actions and behaviors, you want to make sure that what's important to you is not in conflict with the organization or the position that you hold. If there is a conflict, you need to part ways, because you can't change an organization's values or an industry's values, nor should you ever try to change yours to line up with that. So knowing what your values are is crucial. Then I want you to think about leveraging your strengths. And here is, I don't know if you know this, but the brain is designed in such a way that the strengths support its weaknesses. I learned this, early, right after I launched my business, actually, not long after 2007. I read a book by Dr. Carolyn Leaf. She's a neuroscientist. She has a PhD in communication pathology. She specializes in neuropsychology. She's all about the brain. And in her book, she told a story about a study that revealed that essentially your strengths, if you are leveraging your strengths will support your weaknesses. And so when you focus on using your strengths, the things you're naturally good at or the things that you have learned to do well, your brain will naturally improve kind of what she refers to as non-dominant thinking, which is your weaknesses. You will naturally improve on your own in that way. So here's how that applies to life. We all know that if we find something we don't like about ourselves, we can fix it. Oh, this is not good. I need to change that behavior. I need to improve this weakness. And that works. We've all seen it. We've all done it. However, if you focus on leveraging your strengths overall and learning how to hone those and use those and be intentional with those, the brain will go, great, and it will naturally begin to shore up your weaknesses without you having to focus directly on them. And you will grow further and faster and get better. And the increase will be bigger than if you focus on weaknesses. When I learned that, that's when I became drawn to positive psychology, which is a newer study, a scientific study of the strengths that help individuals and communities thrive. And so all of my work and my whole program is built on a strengths-based approach. And this is why, and I want you to think about what are your strengths, because you're going to get where you want to go faster and more effectively if you leverage your strengths. And then I want you to think of the strengths that I call superpowers. So your superpowers are the strengths and skills that you enjoy using. So if you take the overall set of things that you do well and you can hone in on the stuff that you really enjoy, those are your superpowers. Those are the things you need to know. You need to know how to speak to, and you need to know how to use on demand. Those are the things that are going to help you identify and be really clear about where you're a good fit and what you offer in that role. And these are the things that you're going to be able to leverage to find a perfect fit job for you and leverage into a leadership role that really suits you and allows you to thrive. So once you've gotten that clarity, we're going to take key transformation number 2. Again, we're not ready to jump into that kind of action we're used to yet. You need a strategy. You need to be strategic, especially as you're moving into an executive role. One of the biggest differences and most notable differences between people in a more individual contributor or manager role is that those people tend to think tactically and are more about the day-to-day. And that's, I do not diminish that value. That's super high value. And we need all of that to get things done in an organization. But if you're going to be an executive level leader, you need to start stepping up and thinking strategically, especially in a COVID world. In this world with the pandemic, one of the skills that is being required of leaders, especially C-suite leaders going forward, is to have a strategic view of how you're going to lead the organization onward to a place of stability and growth going forward. And that is true. And employees want to know that, as well as the board, as well as other leaders want to know that you're bringing that. So you need to be strategic also with your own career. So let's talk about what that means. First of all, I want you to get really clear about your vision and mission. What drives you as a leader of people? What's important to you? This relates to your values and extends those. As a leader of a company, what's important to you? As a leader of a line of business or in an industry, what is it that you believe in and you want to see? This is a time, this 2020 is the time to start bringing out that vision and mission, as well as you step into a leadership role, you need to have that. As an executive leadership role specifically. The next thing you need is a communication strategy. Leaders communicate differently than staff. They tend to, if you think of the executive summary that we've all heard of, an executive summary for anything is typically concise, clear, and it's confident. You make your point, then you outline your reasoning, just an outline, not super lost in details, and then you're going to recap the point and you're going to give people next steps. You need to begin communicating like this. This is one of the primary challenges of moving from like a manager role to a director or VP role, is to change how you communicate in this way. And I don't care whether you're communicating up to other executives, they are more likely to hear you. It will increase your visibility. You will be more likely to be heard and respected by those above you, as well as those your peers. And as well as your staff, the people who are lower than you in the hierarchy. They too want to hear you have a strategic plan and communicate that strategy clearly. Here's what we're going to do. Here's how we're moving forward. Here's a couple of points I'm going to make, and here's what you need to do right now. So at any level you're communicating to, once you hit the executive level, you need to start communicating in this way. So you need a communication strategy. The next thing you need is a support strategy. And this was my biggest mistake outside when I wanted to get promoted to vice president. Many of you saw my story that I shared by email in terms of my desire to get to an executive level position and how frustrated I was. This is one of the biggest mistakes I had made. I didn't understand the value of a professional network. Typically, again, when you're at a manager level or below, you're able to find other people who do what you do. You're at a similar level. There are lots of employees, right? And so you form friendships internally. You might meet people at conferences. But once you hit an executive level, as we've already talked, there's a fewer percentage of people in leadership roles and right in an executive level and up. So you don't have as many people you can go to and chat with about your work problems because you're not really supposed to. It breaches confidentiality in some ways. And so you need to start intentionally forming relationships inside your organization so people can know more about what you do within the organization, as well as outside the organization, in your industry, with other leaders. These kinds of relationships, I want you to think about emphasizing mutual trust, mutual respect, and mutual service, where you're truly supporting each other. So you will need at some point in your executive career a confidant to brainstorm solutions to problems, and you need people you can trust to go to, and you're not going to have those within your organization. There just aren't that many people. Also, when it's time to look for jobs, that network outside your organization is going to be so helpful to you. So this is something you want to start doing, and you need this kind of support strategy in place now before you even start this kind of search. And finally, you need an execution and accountability strategy so you can be bold, continue to initiate, and continue to lead, and have someone and have some support, have an approach in mind where you have support to ensure that you execute and you have accountability for that. Okay. Once you've done that, we move to key transformation for number 3, where you sharpen your tools. This is the step everyone wants to take. So this will take us just a couple of minutes to run through. So when I talk about tools, what does that mean? Well, there's external tools and internal tools. External tools are if you're wanting to search for a job in a new organization. So you need a professional brand, a clear statement of who you are and what you offer and what you're looking for. You need then to put that brand and make sure that brand is reflected in your LinkedIn profile, resume, cover letter. You need to make sure you sharpen and hone those interviewing skills. There are so many approaches to interviewing today when it comes to the job search. You want to make sure that as a candidate, you know how to control and manage the flow of information in an interview to maximize your opportunities. And then networking skills, what we were just talking about. If you're looking to get promoted internally, there are also things to look at. Progress reports. How are you reporting out what you do, what your team does, and what your accomplishments are? Who needs to know, and how can you make that more visible? Let's talk about one-on-one meetings. Who should you be connecting with, and who do you need to talk to, and how are you structuring those? Networking skills we talked about. Negotiation skills. You're going to need those if you want to negotiate a higher level position. Professional positioning is very similar internally to a professional brand. You want to make sure that that's clear. And then when I say marketing as another internal tool, one of the things that needs to happen as you move up is you need to begin to market and promote who you are, what you do within the organization, so it's not a secret. And maybe that's better phrased as publicity than marketing, but you need to be doing that. All right, then we're finally ready after you get your tools updated for transformation number 4, which is where you finally get to take action, right? The action that we all want to take. I'm going to refer to an old model called of continuous process improvement. As I was preparing this presentation and this masterclass, I was talking to some people and discovered that the concept of continuous process improvement is not as familiar today as it once was, at least in its roots. It started with Deming who worked in Toyota, who was a consultant to Toyota in Japan to help them turn things around. Apparently, I have learned that was basically back in the Stone Ages, which I did not realize I was that old, but apparently I am. But after having success in Japan, he brought it to the US, and we began to embrace this concept of continuously looking at things to improve. Most organizations have an approach for this today. I'm recommending that you apply it to your career. So you're going to make a plan, which is all the things we've been talking about. Then you're going to do it. So you're going to go out, you're going to look for a new job, and you're going to work on getting promoted. Then you're going to check the results, and you're going to take action based on how things are going. And when I say check the results, I'm really talking about measurement. So let's talk about how you're going to optimize your results. First of all, if you can't measure it, you can't improve it. That may or may not be strictly true, but you can't prove you improved it. And that's what we're after. So I recommend all my clients are tracking their results weekly. If you're looking for a job, I want my clients to be tracking how many leads are you finding, how many jobs are you applying for, how many interviews are you getting, how many second interviews, how many offers. And by tracking that information, we can figure out what's working and what's not and what we can improve. If you're looking for a promotion internally, you can track similar things in terms of how many people are you meeting with, how many people have you talked to, how many requests have you made, what kind of results are you getting. So my clients are always hearing from me, how many, how much, how often. We need to measure things. And that way you can make data-driven changes. The corporate world has embraced the concept of using data to drive all the changes that we make and improve all the processes and measure the results. You can do that for yourself in your own career to manage and track how effective the changes you're implementing, how are they working, what's happening, and how quickly, and is there a way to improve that and optimize that so you can get there faster. So we have talked about the first 4 transformations to make in the Epic Next Job system. Some of these are more foundational. Each one builds on the other. And I want to remind you that 5% of all jobs are leadership roles. So there's a small percentage of jobs out there that you're aiming for. Less than 1% of employees achieve a C-suite level. So if you want to be one of those and you don't want this to go slowly, which this process could, you want to take the 5th transformation so you can accelerate the results so that you can land your Epic Next Job more quickly. Well, what is that 5th key transformation? Don't invest in a coach. Now, why would I make one of these a don't? I want you instead to invest in a strategic executive success coach. And I say that because everybody's a coach these days. In 2007 to 2009, with that recession, the job market was flooded with everybody hanging up a shingle saying, I'm a coach. You need a strategic executive success coach. You want someone who has experience and proven results in working with hundreds of clients, helping them land a perfect fit job they love, where they're earning more than before. You need someone who has done this, not someone who just says they can do it or they think it'll work. Now, what does a strategic executive success coach do for you? Well, it brings 2 things, ideas and accountability. New ideas, so you're not showing up like everybody else, and so you're not doing what everybody else does, and accountability. There are new ideas in your head right now that would not have been there if you didn't make time for this training. So let me talk a minute about how this kind of coaching works in particular. First of all, it's really about mindset plus a new strategy to get you results. So the mindset piece is probably the most important piece. It deals with the beliefs about who you are and what's possible and the quality of your ideas. Coaching helps you with your mindset. So we all have limiting beliefs. I have limiting beliefs. You have limiting beliefs. My neighbors have limiting beliefs. We just can't see them. It's kind of like the nose on your face. The brain, you know how the brain disregards the don'ts? Well, the brain blocks out things that it doesn't, it smooths out the nose and goes, we don't need to see that every day. That is not important to my, how I view the world. So we don't see our nose. Someone else can look at our nose and tell us, if something's going on with it, but we can't unless we look in a mirror. Limiting beliefs is like that. The brain just sort of goes, yeah, they're always there. So we don't need to be aware of those. So it's important to work with someone outside of yourself to help you see the beliefs holding you back. And the reason you want to work with someone outside of yourself who has expertise in this is the same reason that you would take your car to a mechanic, especially if you're like me and don't know anything about cars and can't afford to take apart your whole car to fix things. Or if you're sick, you go see a doctor. because there are things that you need to see an expert for. Your mindset and your limiting beliefs are the same kind of thing. And that's why you want to work with a coach who's trained to help you in this way. The next thing that you get is strategy, which is really about what you do and the choices you have available. And you need someone who's going to help you find a strategy that works for you. Not just any strategy, but they're able to adapt the solution for you and help you identify solutions that work for you. You are unique, and you want someone who's skilled at doing just that. And then finally, this thing we were just talking about a couple of points back, as a coach provides support. Life is going to have ups and downs. I think that's true. And if we weren't sure of that, 2020 certainly made it clear. There are ups and downs. And one of my coaches likes to say that's when a coach is most valuable, when things go south. They're there to help shift you around when things aren't going so well. They can help you identify your blind spots and help you kind of move forward again. They help you with execution, accountability, and they help you guarantee results. So, why invest in a strategic executive success coach? So let's talk about that. I did some research. Now, many people will go pursue an advanced degree, especially when they're thinking of becoming an executive and moving to the C-suite. The average tuition for a 2-year MBA program is over $60,000. If you go to one of the top business schools, it's over $100,000. If instead you decide to take some executive leadership training programs, that's between $3,000 and $35,000 for up to 4 weeks of your time. And let's talk about the ROI for that. Now, an MBA, according to US News and World Report, will give you an ROI of 140%, which is not bad. Although I was looking at some research today that talked about sort of CEO and C-suite hiring in 2020 specifically. And the number of people with MBAs who are getting hired is cut, I want to say in half. I don't know that it's quite in half, but it's reduced dramatically. The MBA no longer has the power it once did to get you a C-suite job. So I'd say that 140%, maybe not so much anymore, especially after this year and in this year. However, the average client reported ROI for executive coaching is between 340 and 700%. And this is exactly why you want to hire the best coach out there. You don't just want to hire someone who put up their shingle, because you want to be closer to the 700%, certainly. But even 340% trumps any MBA any day of the week. And that's why this is the solution that will accelerate your results. So, the Epic Next Job system is a system that I have created. It works effectively for executives. In fact, I created it specifically for C-suite executives. I've been doing this work since 2007, and I've been doing it specifically to help executives land a job that they truly enjoy in the C-suite. My clients, typically, up until the pandemic, were actively interviewing in 90 days or less. That took a little bit longer earlier in recent weeks. That's been accelerated again. So my clients are definitely starting to get interviews in 90 days or less. So I know this approach works. So how can I support you? One of the things I wanted to offer you is, if you would like to map out a strategy, your own custom strategy and plan to find your epic next job based on all of the keys that we talked about here in this masterclass, I've set aside some time to speak with you privately, no cost to you. We can map out your own strategy so that you can get to the job you love and the perfect fit C-suite position for you. So I have a link here. I'm going to, I just realized I forgot to ask Ashley to share it in the chat. So I will share that in the chat in a moment so that you have that available. And so before I do that, and I'm going to do that right now, you will also receive this link in the follow-up email I send you. But I want to thank you so much for your time. It is my hope that this has been helpful for you and that you have seen that there is definitely possibility and opportunity for you in 2020 and beyond to start landing the executive positions that you're after. So again, I thank you for your time, and I hope you have a wonderful day.